Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Intentional Life Summit. This is going to be an interactive workshop style. Let's start with what it means to live intentionally. It means making conscious, deliberate choices about how you spend your time, your energy, and your resources. It involves aligning your actions with your values, goals, and priorities rather than simply reacting to circumstances or following habits just because you've done them that way. Living intentionally often requires self reflection, goal setting, planning, and mindfulness, ensuring that your everyday life reflects what truly matters to you. And it's about living with purpose and being present in our decisions, creating a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling. Sounds good, right? So, how do we get there, and who the heck am I to talk about this? I'm Amy Nesbitt. I am a full time working mom to two boys in Silicon Valley. I've worked at the same big tech company for 18 years now. And in the pandemic, I started a YouTube channel because COVID, I was home. And that's a big, long story, but it was a passion side project that I started with the kids and it has become something more. And I talk in my everyday life and at work to so many moms and parents in general who I ask, "How are you?" And the overwhelming answer I get is tired, exhausted, overwhelmed. I don't know how you do it where you have a full-time job and do all these side things. There's so many conversations that make me really sad because we are not thriving in motherhood and it is a beautiful job to have, but it is so hard to balance all the things. And a lot of the time we have lost ourselves in the process. A lot of moms say, "I don't have time for me. I don't do anything for me." And that makes me really, really, really sad because you are a priority. You should be a priority. And so that led me on this path to help other moms live with intention, find themselves again, and find their whole wellness, which is where my Whole Wellness Mamas has come through, where I tie in ways in which we can find joy in everyday moments because it's not going to be these big things that set our lives on this path of joy and happiness. It is finding joy in all the things that we do in our day-to-day lives. It's not going to be everything, but once we can cultivate that habit and live with intention so that what we do, what we say yes to, what we say no to is on purpose, and we are guarding our boundaries, we are setting things appropriately, and we are living in a way where we can show up as our best selves for the people that we love. And to know how to live intentionally, you have to know your why. So that is what we are working on together today. So I want you to dream big. I want you to put on your hats of dreaming, thinking, imagining, letting yourself go wild. If you have not gotten the template already, it is below this video, so grab it. It will be really, really useful as you're working through, since all the prompts will be there for you. So, like I said, we have to figure out our why if we want to live with intention and purpose. We need to know where we're going in order to plan how to get there. So, the first step, I am going to ask you to do a lot of digging in your brain and going back to your heart and root of things that bring you joy and what makes you you. I'm going to be asking a number of different questions. Feel free to pause as you go, or you can listen to the whole thing and come back to it later. But I want you to do these actions because if you don't, it just doesn't really mean much. You can listen to this, but if you do not take action, it means nothing. Knowledge is power, some say, but I say action is power. You have to take action on the things that you've learned. So let's dive in. The first one, some might think it's a little morbid, but I want you to write your own obituary. What do you want to be remembered for in all the different aspects of life? Family, friends, work, community, whatever it might be for you. What do you hope to have accomplished? How did your life and work impact others? How do you want to be remembered? I want to give you an example of what I wrote down for my obituary. And I talked about I want to be remembered as one of the greatest supporters, listeners, a great mom, wife, daughter, friend who loved helping others, and that she strove to find joy in everyday moments, live presently in whatever she did. She's someone that found balance and perspective as a working mom, loved inspiring other stressed out moms to find joy and balance in their lives. She truly believed that everybody could find a way to live joyful lives no matter what their circumstance. Amy truly believed that kids have the power to do more than they think and that we should give them life skills from an early age. She also loved being able to help other moms in any way that she could, interacting and learning from other experts in the parenting and whole wellness field. She truly believed she always had more to learn and that we were meant to learn and grow in community. She always saw people and things as a blessing and shared in any way that she could to help improve others' lives. That was shown through a community of family, friends, neighbors, and online communities. So that was something that I wanted for my life, and that is what guides me. I'll give you some time to write that out. The second prompt I want you to journal and canoodle on is if you were to give a TED Talk next week, what would you choose to talk about? This is something that you are going to be, one, passionate about, and two, you have some sort of knowledge on because you cannot talk and share with people about something that you do not have any sort of experience or knowledge on, right? So it is something that you can talk about, you're excited to talk about, and that you have enough knowledge to talk about. Your experiences make you uniquely you and uniquely equipped to speak to others and share about this and connect with people on this. So, what would that be? I'll give you some more time for this. The next thing I want you to think about, and some of these things might blend together and you might start seeing trends already, and that is great. But for now, I just want you to write because the analyzing comes later where you can reread it and analyze it. But right now, I want you to focus on putting those words to paper or typing and just put them down there. I want them to be something you can read. So, how do you view work and life? I want you to write short statements about what your perspective on work and life is. So, for example, why work? Why do you work? What is good about it? How do you see money? How do you gain fulfillment from your work? What is it about work that defines it for you? And do a similar thing for life. What makes you feel like you're living a good life? How do you feel fulfilled? What brings you joy? How does rest factor into your life too? Do you intentionally prioritize it into your life like work? And when I say rest, it doesn't just mean take a nap or get more sleep. Well, those are really, really important and scientifically proven to help you with productivity and your moods and your mind and all of that. There is so much more to rest. I actually recently read this book called Rest by Alex Sujung Kim Peng. And I loved the reminder that walks, exercise, morning routines, deep play through finding your right hobbies, and getaways like sabbaticals are all fabulous and arguably necessary things to help us be more productive in our work. So, how do you look at rest? Is it a nice to have, or do you set time aside for your rest, for your recovery, for your rejuvenation, for your R&R? What are your thoughts on work and life? Put those down. Now I want you to think about the next 10 years. What do you want to have accomplished? You've started thinking about your life, your obituary, and all of that, but let's narrow it down to 10 years. What do you want to learn? What do you want to have? Who do you want to be? What do you want to try, see, do, go, create, contribute to? Don't filter yourself. Write down things that you want, goals you want to achieve. Dream big, friend. This is your time. This is for your eyes only. There are no dreams too stupid, too big, too anything. Just let your pen or keyboard fly and see what comes to you. You will filter that later, but just brain dump, dream big. Don't skip to the next step until you have gotten this done, because this is the foundation and you can always come back and tweak later. I like to come revisit it at least annually to make sure I am aligned with it still. Is there anything else I want to change? But at least get a draft to start from. Don't go for perfection because there is no such thing as perfection. It is a work in progress, but I want you to have a draft. Now read through what you wrote. Do you feel excited, aligned, passionate about what you wrote for the first prompts? I hope you do, because it is going to be your compass, your North Star, your why, whatever you want to call it. That is going to be your foundation. Now look at your 10-year list. I want you to go through and mark them as things you want and realistically can do within 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years by marking 1, 3, 5, and 10 next to them. Realistically, but a stretch is totally fine. But I don't want you to write 1 if there's absolutely no way you are going to get there by then. Remember, you can't do it all. You have a big list of dreams. You cannot do it all. So you're narrowing down the ones that you feel aligned to this point in time and this state of your life. It should also align with what your priorities are. And I want you to take note as you're doing this. Do they fit into certain categories? Is it health? Is it work? Relationships? Play? It's really important to start seeing trends and balance to fit it into your life. And all these categories are important. They're necessary to have in our lives, and we are going to get more aligned with what brings us joy in each of these areas. And once we see that, it'll be easier and easier to know what and how to make time for the things that are truly important to us and bring us joy. As you're reading these, does that give you an idea of what's on your heart and what focus you want to have? What is most important to you? Because most likely, there are things that you spend a lot of time on right now that don't even show up or are not important. They're not things that at the end of your life, you're going to say, oh, I wish I did that one project. If you have an idea of some of the things that are important to you, great. If not, that's okay. I want you to take more time this week to think about these things and sit with the hard feelings that come up. Maybe you're not happy with where you are at right now and have to make some really hard decisions to change what you're doing or where you're prioritizing your time in order to shift more towards where you want to be. Maybe you're doing too much in too many spaces and you need to figure out where to spend the time so that you're not being pulled in all the directions and able to focus more time where you want to. Maybe you feel right on track and you're laser focused. If that's you, props to you. You are a rarity. That's awesome. But wherever you are, this is the first step to living intentionally. So, congratulations. From here, we need to start narrowing down even more and planning, which is exactly what my Live with Intention course does. And we create the why together, just like we did right now. Narrow down our focus even more. Create a plan, because without a plan, our goals are nothing. And we create our systems to track, reflect, and adjust as necessary. Because during this whole process, we also need to celebrate our wins. No matter how small, we always make progress. So we need to celebrate our wins and also acknowledge where things need to be tweaked because life will throw us curveballs. Life will give us things that we need to adjust for, or things aren't going to turn out the way that we expected. And so we need to change some things. And that is totally normal. And we should have a process to adjust accordingly. I hope you'll join me for that course. But even if you don't, this gives you this first step in order to help you align your life. Because once you know what is important to you, it also has given you the gift of telling you what is not important to you and the things that you can say no to. Let's live with intention and thrive in parenting, friends.